Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Would you rather prefer $1 million today or 20 cents every day for 3 years, which will compound at 1% every day? Let's find out. The answer to this question can unveil the number one rule you need to master to exponentially grow your capital, the compounding effect. In this video, we will dig deeper into the main reason why most of the people do not succeed with their investment and the psychological biases preventing them from harnessing the full potential of this rule. I will also share with you some tricks to overcome those constraints and walk you through a real case example to understand how to reap the benefit of the compounding.
Now, if you take the other case, which is that let's assume that Walmart is not part of the Nifty 50. And you assume that you invest in the Nifty 50 at the all-time high in 1972, just before the big crash of 73, 74. And you run it till today. What you find is that the annualized return is 10.2% annualized, and the S&P is 10.3%. So even with buying at ridiculous valuations, but just holding them, of course, what happened in 73, 74 is the Nifty 50 went down 50%. Nobody was in the Nifty 50 by 1975, that everyone exited. But if they had held on, and if they had held on till today, they would pretty much be toe-to-toe with the S&P. It's not that much of a difference. And this lesson again plays out where we had this great investor in India who passed away last year, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. And Rakesh Jhunjhunwala never managed money professionally. He was an individual investor. Maybe close to the end of his life, he was starting a business, but basically it was all passive investing. And he started with $400 when he was 25 years old. And at 62, when he passed away, it was 5.8 billion.
Albert Einstein was used to say, quote, "The compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it." With the periodic compounding, the interest generated every period are added back to the initial capital in order to return higher interests in the future period. At the beginning of this video, I asked whether you prefer 1 million today or 20 cents every day for 3 years, which would compound at 1% daily. The answer to this tricky question can already show you how our brain is used to think linearly and not exponentially, and therefore our instinct would call immediately for option A. Luckily, with the support of some algebra, we can easily find out that the answer is not as straightforward as it seems. Let's say we have Alex, who starts to save $1,000 per month at 25 and keeps on saving till he is 40 years old. David starts saving twice as much as Alex, $2,000 per month, but only when he is 40 and keeps on doing it until he reaches 60 years old. Both of them managed to earn a 6% yearly return with a portfolio of passive ETF on equity indices and government bonds. When they reach the age of 60, Alex, who has been investing for 15 years from 25 to 40 years old, $1,000 per month, has a total return of $1,041,000. David, on the contrary, who has been investing for 20 years from 40 to 60 years old, $2,000 per month, has a total of $1,017,000. David therefore made $24,000 less despite having invested for 5 years more, twice as much as Alex. The vast majority of the people keep on insisting on the rate of return part, often missing that the key concept to master here is the time. Let's run some sensitivity analysis to better understand this point. A sensitivity analysis in finance aims at understanding the impact on the final outcome by changing the input parameters. David, aiming at increasing his portfolio return from 6 to 7% and therefore the accumulated capital, might be tempted to take some risky bets which might or might not pay off. Assuming he is lucky enough, after an additional year, David's portfolio equals $1,100,000. However, he could have achieved an even better result without exposing the portfolio to additional risk by just patiently waiting 2 more years. In fact, assuming the same 6% yearly return, at 62 his portfolio equals $1,200,000, $81,000 more compared to pushing the portfolio for an additional 1% return for 1 year. If it is so obvious why most of the people don't reap the benefit of the compounding and understand the importance of having a long-term horizon, there are 3 main reasons for that. Number 1, people lack patience and tend to give up if they don't see result after what they consider as being a reasonable amount of time. Number 2, most of the people lack discipline and tend to underestimate how powerful a few consistently applied habits can be. Number 3, the society in which we live shows us every second example of quick wins, or what appear to be quick wins, and we have a natural tendency to benchmark ourselves against those external scorecards. How can you overcome those psychological biases then? First, define a strategic, consistent plan and study from the best. Warren Buffett, Munish Pabrai, Guy Spier. You will notice that none of them turn rich overnight. Second, start to define some investment rules that work for you and consistently stick to them while trying to improve your financial knowledge by subscribing to the Stoic Investor, for instance. Third, stay away from unrealistic stories of success and fake financial gurus, especially on YouTube. In 1494, Luca Pacioli, when discussing about the time of an investment in his manuscript, Summa Arithmetica, wrote, "In wanting to know of any capital at a given percentage in how many years it will double adding the interest to the capital, keep as a rule 72 in mind." This is a simple rule which basically tells you that in order to find how many years it will take to your capital to double in value, you need to divide 72 by the interest rate of your investment. So let's say you have $50,000 and you manage to score 6% in annual return. It will take you 12 years before your capital doubles and you will reach $100,000. We want to find out now with real data how long does it take to reach $1 million and understand the importance of the compounding by tweaking some assumptions. We assume to have Linda, who is saving $1,000 a month starting when she is 25 years old, and she continues till she reaches the goal, $1 million, at age of 58 years old. But let's now run some sensitivity analysis to understand the impact on the final result if we start changing some inputs. So, for instance, if Linda, for whatever reason, manages to save $1,500 a month, she manages to reach $1 million at 52 years old. This means that the sensitivity to $500 additional monthly savings correspond to approximately -6 years in achieving the 1 million goal. What if Linda, instead of 5%, manages to earn 6%? In that case, the sensitivity to 1% additional return is equal to -3 years in achieving the 1 million goal of Linda. With the help of this example and of the sensitivity analysis, I hope you could see how important is the time dimension to have the compounding working for you. So, to wrap up, the main takeaways from today's video are: number 1, start saving as soon as possible, because even small amount can make a tremendous difference over the long term. Number 2, do not take excessive risk, know your investment and keep it simple. Number 3, be patient and stay away from financial storytellers. The compound interest is a concept that does not only live in the investment world, but is driving everything in the universe if you think about the evolutionary concept. Every time we overcome obstacles, become more resilient, or become a better version of ourselves, we are applying the compound interest at its purest form. Guy Spier, in his great book, The Education of a Value Investor, elaborates on the concept of compounding goodwill and on the tremendous changes that happened in his life when he started to send around handwritten notes to thank people. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Before leaving, please do not forget to give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and pin the notification bell in order to remain up to date every time we release a new video. So this is much for today. Cheers and see you next time.